Hey, I've got a burning question for you. Do you think there will ever be a time when you are able to say, I finally had all the wheel of time there is, or that I need? Well, have you rewatched or reread lately? In this video, Cathy and I finally get to do a rewatch of Season 1, Episode 7. We usually do 2, but there was some extreme weather and we were worried that roads might become blocked and I wouldn't get home because I finally went to Cathy's place instead of her coming to me. There was flash flooding starting, but I did get home safely. It's okay, but we limited ourselves to just the one episode. This is Cathy's third rewatch, her third watch, so her second rewatch, but she has never read the books. We've had some great discussions as Cathy uses her knowledge of Season 2 to interpret what she is seeing now, rewatching Season 1. Enjoy!
Well, life lifed.
Oh, it did life. It really did life. And it still is today.
Oh, it is still lifing, yes. So lifing so much so that all the way driving over here, I kept thinking I shouldn't be doing this because it might flood. And I just still did. And so we've only watched one episode because, some roads are already cutting off. It started raining last night. But it's been raining on and off for a couple of months, and so that's part of the fun where we live. But we haven't got together since December, and this is early April. So we've had Christmas, we've had Easter, we've had a baby, and we've had Barley Belly.
We have, all the things.
Lifing has just been happening everywhere. So we've just watched episode 7 of Season 1, and that was your third time watching it. Yes, but it's been quite a while since you watched Season 1. So just first thoughts that come to your head.
First thoughts. Well, the first thought is, although it's my third time watching, it's like, and although I really did remember, I was surprised how much I remembered what happened. It's just so excellent that it didn't matter that it was the third time. I just enjoyed every minute of it. And of course this time I'm looking with the eyes of someone who's seen to the end of Season 2. So But it was just, even though I remembered the plot lines, just watching it again, it's so impactful, and that opening scene is just astonishing.
It's so funny because we had talked and said what episode are we watching, and I knew as I was coming what episode we were going to watch, and then I got here and I had to go, what episode are we watching? And even when you said 7, my brain forgot for a minute that would mean the blood snow as the cold opened.
And I think we both kind of went,
it's the blood snow. And just absolutely absorbed every detail of it. Did you see anything during that blood snow scene that you hadn't noticed before? Because it's not like there's hidden detail.
I don't think so. I think I appreciated more who she is, what she is, so, which of course the first time, but probably the second time, past. No, I know, it's just, she's just so fabulously fierce. I just love it. I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah. All right, so trust it. Look, there's my notes. I'm not going to get too close because they are so scribbly. But
one question.
One note. Well, we've made a start though.
Yes.
Right, because we would think things before and then we'd sit down, start recording, and we'd forget. So let's jump in with your note.
It was a question, and it was a question about, now it's the black wind, isn't it? The black wind or the dark wind?
Oh, black
wind, yes.
Much in Shin.
Yeah, much in Shin, yes. So it occurred to me, not at the time, but in a much, much later scene, that we didn't see it or hear it speaking to Lan. It spoke to everybody else, but not Lan.
Do you know what one of my notes was? It didn't speak to Loyal.
Ah!
And so there you go.
Yeah.
I worked out, hey, it didn't say anything to Loyal, but you noticed it didn't say anything to Lan.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, because my question was going to be, what would it say to Loyal to put him off his game?
Well, I don't know.
You don't like
say.
books. You don't
But
really like
Loyal
books.
is-
You just pretend to read.
But he's so grounded in him, in
No.
who he is and his identity. I think, and that's what I was thinking about Lan.
Do you
Lan
think?
is, yeah, yeah. Perhaps there wasn't anything that he could play on. I don't know. I wondered. But
Whereas
Loyal
I
even
would have
more so.
thought there'd be lots that it could play on with Lan.
But I think Lan is honest with himself.
That's interesting.
So he's already thought about these things. He's already reflected on that stuff.
Yeah.
That's how I was interpreting.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. Okay, that's good, right? Because I noticed Loyal, and that was one thing. Look, see, Loyal.
Yeah.
What did Martian Shin tell him? Yeah. Okay, so the two of them. So I don't know the answer to that, because in the books, Martin Shin didn't talk that way.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, it just said really horrible things.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
about blood and eating bones and
Oh.
yes.
So
Yes,
this
it was-
version was more insidious. And,
This version, I think, was scarier in a way, because it was something different to each person, you know, and so
yeah, and all the blood and bone stuff. Once you're out of the situation, you can very easily rationalise that and just go, well, it was just trying to frighten me. Whereas this one got right into their psyche.
exactly.
And ate away.
Yeah, much more personal, because I can see that having a PTSD impact.
Yes.
You know, that something happens and you can have that flashback of what was being said in your head,
Yes.
as compared to Martin Shin, you know, just really scaring you that if it caught you, that's you were gonna,
Actually, as we're talking about it, it's like I'm thinking about Nynaeve and what it was saying to her about her failure to rescue people, and then looking at season 2 and what happens when she goes in the
goes through the arches for her accepted testing.
Yes. And so it's, what it's saying to them, and there's truth in there. It's just a really horrible truth.
Yes, it's a twisted truth. It can find something that is something like that you actually believe or worry about,
So I was thinking when it was saying that stuff to her, and then I was thinking about when she went through the arches, was that voice in her head again going, see, you never save them, you never get them.
Yeah.
So
the minute I heard it say, about her parents screaming and leaving her parents to die screaming.
Yes.
I immediately saw that scene from her accepted test. And one of the things I remembered was the first time we've only watched that once, haven't we?
Yes.
And so that one time that we watched it, you were saying to me, I think it was maybe the next week or something, you were saying, I don't know, that was really about fears and things.
Yes.
You know, whereas I think that you can really see how many deep-seated fears, Nynaeve carries.
Yes.
And how even that accepted test, how it's going to be so different for every person, because it's going to, it's not going to have rats running up your leg.
Yeah.
It's going to really get into the root of, what are the things. Yeah.
Yes.
So it kind of made a nice little connection between
did,
the two, didn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's good. And because what did it say to Egwene? See, my notes were not detailed like with my scene breakdowns where I'm like writing down everything. I'm just trying to remember what it said to Egwene. Because with Perrin it was all about his wife and, you know, blah, blah.
Oh my goodness, no, I can't think.
Well, aren't we better?
Wow. Just watched it.
Just watched it, need to watch it again. Okay, I'll pick that up and we can talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah, because I've got the transcripts and everything.
Good, because let's get it
so
done
it's easy
now.
for me to find. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The only other, there were two other kind of little things when they were in the waves. The waves?
Yes, the waves. Yep. With a capital W. Yes.
Right at the start, Loyal was talking about how it used to be verdant and beautiful. And I don't know if I've just forgotten this because it's been months since we saw the last episode. So were the waves built by the Ogier?
Yes. So, but we don't know that. In the show, we've not had the history of the ways explained to us. I am presuming we will learn more about that because they used the ways again in season 2. So, you know, so they weren't just a one-off thing. And there are some things coming up where I'm sure they will show us, but the Ogier were very involved in starting off the creation of the ways.
Right.
Yeah.
And I assumed that was the case because then we had that guiding. All I could think was grounding, and I thought it was not grounding, the guiding post, which they were relying on him to try and read. So I thought, okay, that's obviously been made by Ogiers, but anyway, okay, and then so that's okay. Well, I'll wait and see what.
Yeah, because I don't know how much they're going to explain that, and it might be that when they do explain that if they don't give a lot of meat to it, then we'll be able to talk more about it. But what I can tell you is that they were probably some scenes that went onto the cutting room floor. Yeah. That I'm not sure if they're still up there because Amazon did remove some of the extra stuff they had up there. Because they used to have a lovely timeline thing that you could go along and stuff, and that's gone now. But they had some still photos, and there was a photo of so we got that scene where Moraine went and introduced herself to Loyal. And she makes it's obvious enough by what she says that she asks him to take them through the ways, but we don't see her doing that. But there was a still photo of her and Loyal at a table going over maps of the ways. Right, okay. So that scene must have gone onto the cutting room floor, and maybe we would have learned a bit more. Right. But what we do believe is that some scenes that hit the cutting room floor may just get used later as a flashback. That will feel so. You know, they might if they did explain a bit about the ways then, that still could get used because it would be a perfect flashback anyway, because we know she asked him.
Yes.
And so if you then saw a bit more later, or whatever, but yeah, that's where it kind of helps us as book readers too, that we go, see that scene, why wasn't that in there? You know, and obviously something's got to go, So yeah.
So now the other thing about when they were in the ways, I really wasn't clear from how it was portrayed. Was Nynaeve just, I don't know, what was she doing with the Black Wing? Was she just having a temper tantrum at it, or was she trying to help them all?
Yeah, she was. She was having a temper tantrum, and she was like creating like a big shield.
Yeah.
And she was holding that black wind
Yeah.
back to a degree
Yeah.
because it kind of came in and started at them, and then she held it back enough, and Moraine was able to get the way gate open, and they all got out.
But it wasn't. She hadn't really kind of.
She didn't destroy it or anything.
No, and it was an anger response rather than a thought out strategy to help them.
The same as when Lang got his throat cut,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
and I think that you've got those two together, and then what happens in the next episode, episode 8,
Yeah.
where they're linked
Yes.
in the battle,
Yeah.
and you know all of that horrible stuff happens. That it's those 3 events that that really tip her over the edge, and we get into season 2, and she just, you know. But what we do have to remember is she was not purposefully touching the source
Yes.
in season 1.
Yes.
She was only having something extreme happen, and it would just like explode out of her. She had control of it in the way that everybody got healed, but it's almost like she wouldn't be able to tell you how she did that.
Yeah.
Like she just went no and did it.
Yeah.
There was no finesse, no control.
Which is why she's doing so badly at the beginning of season 2 in the White Tower.
Exactly.
The flower. No, I need to be really mad.
Yes, exactly. And one note that I did make that, so I've got 2 notes about the ways, but one of them that 3 that I did make was that contrast that we saw there of Nynaeve and Moraine channeling. Nynaeve just goes, and Moraine goes, slow motion.
Yes.
She actually drives me a little bit spare, Moraine, channeling in the show, because it is like they're not actually doing it in slow motion. She really seems to be taking that long, and it's like you would have all been dead.
Yep. Well,
you know, you would have all been dead.
In the first episode, when the Trollocs attack and there's all hell breaking loose, and she's going like this, it's like, come on, we need a bit of Nynaeve energy.
Yeah. And to be honest, when I was watching that the first time round, that episode 1, I actually thought they were doing that clever battle scene stuff, and that it was like they were showing her slowly, so that we would, and then the more it went on, the more it became obvious.
No, that's just how she does it.
Because they actually don't channel like that in the book.
Okay. Actually, I remember you saying
in the book you don't really see a lot.
Right.
Yeah. But we also have now that we're 2 seasons in, like the difference we're seeing in every different channeler is, it's interesting because we did know that from the book, but we didn't see it.
Right. Yeah.
So much reading a book as what I'm noticing, seeing it as a visual medium. You know, when that yellow sister gets taken by the Shanchen.
Yes.
And she's just like snapping people apart and twisting them, you know, that was so different to what anybody else was doing. And you know, like Egwene, she's a chess channeler, you know, she goes and it just booms out. She's a heart channeler, we say, you know.
Yes.
And you can really see how everyone's so different, but what I love is how the Forsaken are just like, and that's it. They can just move a finger and something huge happens. And that has been a great visual for the difference both in power, but and that whole training thing, and maybe your self-confidence, and you know that because when you think about it, Moraine probably hasn't had to channel in a lot of dire situations in all of her years as an Aes Sedai until now. You know,
she's not a warrior. That's not her role. So.
No, that's right. So, yeah, so she'd probably always been able to take her time and be a bit dancey and, you know.
It is a bit interpretive dance, isn't it?
Yeah, and interviews with her after season 1, and she was sort of saying that she actually got to make most of those moves up herself. Yeah, you know, like she would have had a movement coach, but they wanted everyone to have their own style of channeling.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Yeah. So the other note I made about the ways was that comment about the Trollocs using the ways.
And I had remembered that.
Oh,
I
nice.
remembered that they were using that as that's how they were appearing in unexpected places.
Yeah, that's how they got to the 2 rivers. Yeah.
I did wonder, because when Moraine said, go and close off that gate.
Brick it up, the way gate.
The way gate, not gateway.
Not a gateway, a way gate, yes.
And it was like, well, why don't you just brick all of them up then and just trap all the Trollocs in the way?
Well, she can't ask Agelmar to go over the whole of the land when, you know.
She's got contacts. She could send a few riders out and send some messages.
Absolutely.
Just seemed like a missed opportunity.
Yeah, maybe she had something else on her mind.
Well, I know, but you know.
But it's a really good point. Like, you know, why don't we just brick up all of the way gates?
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, end of the books. It would kill the story slightly stone dead, wouldn't it?
See, this is the thing. You know, we whinge and complain all the time about the lack of communication in the Wheel of Time, but it would only be a 10-page book if they communicated.
Yes, exactly.
You know.
The Trollocs have been at the 2 rivers. We worked out where they came from. They have all the way
dealt with it.
Job
done.
Bad guys trapped forever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What else have you got on your list?
I just really, this was the first time I really noticed this. Was Agelmar's comment to, you know, Moraine when she explained why she was actually there. He did not apologise. He said, "I offended you. You're welcome to stay."
Yes, it's true. I hadn't spotted that.
Yeah, I hadn't quite realised, but that wording, for some reason, it really jumped out at me. Was like, "I offended you," and it was said implying an apology, but it was not explicitly an apology. It was only, you know, okay.
All right. Well, now you've told me the whole story. I suppose I can see sense in what you did and why you're here. But yes.
Which made her comment then to his sister a bit after, when she was talking about Min, and she was saying, "Well, why would Agelmar want to see Min? He knows everything already." Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, she noticed.
She did.
Oh no, I've got one more thing about the ways.
Yeah.
How did Fane get out? How did Pad and Fane get out? If Moraine had to channel to open the way gate, how did Pad and Fane get out?
Good point. Maybe the Black Wind
Wild guesses. Black Wind might have helped him. Well, there's the second question then. What did the Black Wind say to Fane?
Well,
"You're a really nice man. Everyone loves you."
She'll do good things to all people. I hadn't thought about that, and the one thing that did strike me was that the way he left. He just kind of sauntered out where everyone else got.
Everyone else got
and he just kind of wandered out. So clearly,
he should have been whistling.
Yes,
right. That was the only thing missing. Was he could have been whistling.
But his experience in the ways was clearly very different to the others. So, and I'm guessing that it was him that was following them. Either Rand or Egwene said someone's following us. So
Lan said it. And yes, we did see him.
Did we?
Yes, yes. So
Oh,
there
I
was,
missed that.
yeah. So there was. Well, if you blinked, you might have missed
Ah.
it. So there was a scene where after it was either just before or just after that was said, and the camera looks back along the path, and there's just a little flash of light, and he's standing there.
Completely missed that.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
okay.
So he wasn't far behind them, and then he got out.
Because the way that he sauntered out of the waygate did make me think. Because I've been, he's not just a dark friend, is he? He's something else.
Right.
There must be something else, and therefore presumably has some other powers than just being a person who's a bit bad. And the way
Is he a Forsaken? Because you're saying he's more than a dark
No, I'm
friend.
going to say no.
Right.
I'm going to say no. I don't think so. I think he's a whatever he is. He's a one of a kind.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah. I don't know what he is, but he's something not just a human.
All right. Oh, because that'll be worth keeping in mind as we rewatch through season 2 as well.
Because he seems to have the ability to, and I guess it's because he uses the ways, but he does pop up all over the place all the time.
He's a whack-a-mole, yeah.
Yeah.
Someone could have just...
Yes. That's exactly what it is. So there you are. He's some kind of evil whack-a-mole. Yeah.
There was a still photo that showed how he got out.
Oh,
So
okay.
how rude was that? Because most people... But if you hadn't read the books, the still photo would have still left you wondering.
Okay, all right.
But there was a still photo, and it made book readers very happy.
Oh, okay.
And
But they obviously don't want us to know yet.
so I'm also going to presume that because there was that still photo, that this will become apparent as things move forward too. Because so far, apart from Pat and Fane walking out, all right, so let me ask you another question then about Fane. Can he channel?
Well, this is what I was wondering as I watched him sauntering out. But there was this is why I think he's got some kind of different power, because the special effect that we saw when they were channeling it, with the air was kind of rippling and shimmering, and there were he just wandered out as if the gate wasn't there.
Yeah.
So no, I mean, like in the same way that Perrin is something else, whatever this wolf thing is called, because it doesn't have a name.
Yes, it does.
What?
Elias told him the name. Wolf brother.
Oh, okay, right. Sorry, I'd forgotten. Sorry. It's been months. It's been really big months. So
sorry, for us again as book readers, that was just gorgeous. It was like Wolf brother, and Perrin says something stupid like, "What does that mean?" And he says exactly what it sounds like.
So Perrin is not only able to channel, but also has this other thing. He's a
Perrin can channel, can he?
I think so. Well,
Okay.
I've assumed he can channel.
Right, okay.
Because he's part of the communal dragon in my brain.
Yep.
I apologise, book people.
Well, it's either the 5-headed dragon or the what was that word I had? Now I forget.
I can't remember. It was good. Anyway,
if you're young watching this, you will be
this
here
will
one day
happen
too.
to you.
Editing, Katrina here. Voltron is the word we were looking for. We've discussed that in previous episodes. It's a word I know so well, and then of course in the moment, it was gone. Anyway, It's a pretty popular theory that lots of people have, particularly watching the show. But even some of the early book readers had those kind of theories, except that they usually thought that it would just be, the Trinity, the three boys.
So I've assumed that he can channel.
All right. So Ram can channel. Nynaeve. Nynaeve's the most powerful channeler we've seen in our 1,000 years, but she can't channel. But she can. Egwene definitely can. Perrin can. Matt, can he channel?
Well, I've just assumed that all 5 of them can.
All right. Good.
In my brain.
Yeah.
But so I just think that in the same way that Perrin is a wolf brother and none of the others are, then Pattern Fane is a something.
Yeah.
That I don't know the name of.
Yeah.
That has other abilities.
Yeah, we've definitely not heard any name that you could apply.
So not channeling, but something else.
All right. So he can't channel, but he's a one of a kind, something separate.
Yes.
Yeah. He is a dark friend, but he's not a dark friend.
He's more.
More than a dark friend, not a forsaken.
Yes.
Okay. No, that's good to get clear that that's where you're at, because
my theory and what it is.
Yeah. And he is deliberately has some enigma quality, to him. Yeah. Like we know this guy is wrong, but you are supposed to be wondering.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. He's like a classic trickster kind of figure.
Like a Loki.
Well, yeah, I was going to say Loki, but I don't know anything about Loki except that that's what Loki is. There's a lot of them in the Bible as well, people. So, trickster figures.
Everywhere, yeah.
So,
and even in the real world, yeah.
So some kind of trickster powers that I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
That's where
Yep.
At the time, while I'm trying to just keep my face straight, because, she's not even exactly wrong. That was a really good connection to show Pattern Fane, even though I connect Loki, of course, to Matt way more.
Because he has a kind of classic trickster thing of he's a bit charming and a bit kind of jokey, I'm your pal. But at the same time, I'm going to rip you off, steal everything, destroy your world, and kill your children.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. My next note, I just had to write it down. It was when Min was talking to Moraine, and Moraine says, "You see something about me now," and she says, "The Armland seat is going to be your downfall." And that just made me have a little cry. So what I'd love to know is, now that you've seen season 2, so you've seen the end of season 1 and you've seen season 2, have we seen that happen yet, or what does she mean by?
No, because I was reflecting on that and thinking, no, we haven't seen that at all yet. Right. We've seen things not going great for the two of them, but no, she hasn't had a downfall yet, so that's still to come.
Right. I have a theory, and I can tell you this one because this is not book.
Yep.
As you know, there's lots of the show twists and changes, a lot of events from the book to give us the same outcome, and which makes it really fun. So and this is not a theory I hear others talking about, so it's just my own little something, is I have wondered whether when Moraine and Swan were in the Love Shack and they were talking afterwards, and Swan started to tell Moraine that she'd been having dreams with the Dark One at the Eye of the World, and telling her that she had to go there. And I wonder if that was how she was Moraine's downfall, because Moraine then went and got shielded,
Right.
you know, and all of that,
Okay.
all of the, you know, trauma that she
Yeah.
went through from that. So I'll just put that out there, right? That's
so-
a little theory that I've got, but there may be something bigger to come.
I think there's something bigger because, okay, yes, all that terrible stuff happened at the Eye of the World and she was
Mhm.
shielded, but, you know, by the end of season 2, she's unshielded and
Mhm.
that's been reversed.
It has.
I mean, she's still vanished from memory, isn't she?
She is still,
White
yes,
Town?
yes.
But it's not,
Yes.
it's not,
And it
I
doesn't
would-
look like that's about to like just get pally-pally.
no.
Not with the way,
No.
yeah.
But I feel like a downfall that's predicted by a seer is going to be something bigger and worse and more.
You got any ideas what it could be? Just for funsies.
I don't know.
Like, by downfall, is she going to get killed? Is she
No, I think
going to,
I think
like,
for Moraine it's around, I don't know, kind of pulling out the core of who she believes she is. Because even after what happened to her at the Eye of the World, then in season 2 we saw her back in her hometown, and so she'd lost a whole bunch of stuff, but she got back
when
a
she went
different
back
kind
to
of
Kyrie,
status and power and stuff, you know, being in a powerful family. So I think for Moraine it would be there's an arrogance and a self-assuredness that underpins what she is, and so a downfall would rip away the guts of whatever props all of that up.
Okay. And somehow Swan's going to bring that about.
Yes.
Interesting. And this is the kind of thing I can just theorize with you on because that particular prophecy was not in the book.
Okay.
You know, and like Moraine didn't get shielded like that. You know, I've told you that before. So like, so that leaves it open for me to be going, ooh, I actually don't know these bits, and I can talk to you about that because it's like there ain't no spoilers.
Yeah.
I could be totally wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
And because she does say that she saw the Armelin in her full regalia, and she wasn't in her full regalia when she told Moraine about having the dreams of the Dark One, but she was in her full regalia then the next morning when she exiled her with the intention of her going off to the Eye of the World. So that's where I could see that in the Love Shack she was just telling Moraine that stuff, but then sitting there as the Armelin exiling her.
Yeah.
That's when she was in her full regalia. But you like.
Oh, I suppose, and it also comes down to the question of how accurately does Min interpret what she says? Because if her vision
And all she said was your downfall.
Yeah, so if her vision was the Armelin seat in all her regalia going, you're out, without knowing the whole story, she could interpret that as a downfall.
Even if she saw something of Moraine afterwards. Right, because she looked pretty terrible.
She did.
Right?
Yeah.
And she would have to see Swan in her full regalia because she might not know Swan as a person. She might only know, you know, when you were talking about that when she's in that regalia, that's supposed to hide the person. So like she may have needed a vision to have been that because she couldn't. If she just saw her and Swan sitting in the Love Shack, well, I suppose she'd say your girlfriend, like, but you know what I mean? Yeah. So, okay, that's good. That's interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. So we can have some like little discussions where I'm on exactly the same level as you, just trying to make sense of things. Cool. I loved that. Yeah. So that's good. Just that little line when, so Moraine and Lan are on the balcony the night before, and Moraine says, you know, is worried about like what choice the kids will make, and Lan says, you gave them a semblance of a choice. And that was just like, in other words, no. So in nearly every book in the series, there is nearly always a chapter called Choices.
Okay.
And people never get choices in that chapter. Whenever you see a chapter called Choices, you're like, oh, here we go.
Okay.
And so I really liked that little line by him because, you know, it was interesting, especially with the whole thing about the truth and Aes Sedai tells you,
Yes.
all of that sort of thing. It was like, okay, so she said all of that stuff to them, but she still wasn't really coming out and being honest about anything. Yeah. And what better way to get people to do what you want than to make them think they chose to?
Yeah. I mean, she's still very much the puppet master, really, with the things that
Absolutely.
she chooses. And this is what I mean about, like I said, a real downfall would be that she would lose, something would happen that like no one would ever believe her puppet mastery ever again, and that she would lose all her power and control, which is so intrinsic to who she thinks she has to be.
So I wonder how Swan would be able to do that to her. Yeah. I know, because I have got no idea how they will change things and throw a scene together, you know, so okay, so this was a little thought that I had thinking ahead to season 2, is that in season 2 we see all of that stuff about the relationship between Moraine and Lan, with her just throwing stones at him, trying to make him run away. And then again, out on that balcony, on that last night before the Eye of the World, Moraine was there worried about Lan and everything she'd taken from him. And I just thought, that makes those, all those times with her and Lan even deeper for me. It was like the last thing before she went there and got I keep going to say stilled. She did not get stilled. We know that. Got shielded. Was her standing there, because him saying it's not like you to be like this, you know, and that was what was playing on her mind. She was not worried about herself. She was always worried about Lan. So it was beautiful. So this occurred to me when Lan comes in the next morning into Nynaeve's room, when she's there with Egwene and Perrin, and he says Moraine masked the bond. So when did she mask the bond? She must have masked it before he got into bed with Nynaeve. Yes. That's what I assumed. Whereas, like, he wasn't saying anything about it when he was with Nynaeve. No. It's like he comes in the room and he goes, she masked the bond. And I thought, but she wouldn't have just masked it that morning.
No.
None on the other side. I actually thought I had written one on the other side. Interesting. So you agree with that?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And so that it ends with them going into the blight, heading towards the Eye of the World. Anything more?
I don't think so. I think that was everything that struck me.
Yeah, I tried to make sure when something hit that I did make a little note.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of those notes were things that I had caught my attention as we're watching.
Yeah, because the problem that we've had is then when we start talking, then you can't always remember, what were those things that caught my attention?
Pen and paper, such a simple idea.
I know. And usually I do things on the notes app on my phone, but then I still wouldn't have been able to access them. So that wouldn't have worked. And so you might have also noticed that we're in a different spot, because I had to come to Cathy's place today, because babies and TV don't mix well. I mean, they can if the baby's asleep.
So she's braved rain and flood.
I know. You have no idea what I have braved to get here. I'm quite nervous about driving home. Some of the roads are blocked.
Yeah.
But that's
And
okay.
That's why
I
we're
will
only
just
doing
drive
one
slowly.
episode.
Yeah, because I really should take off. And for the next, well, probably for the rest of this series, I'll be coming here to do them because babies. My little grandson is very cute, but it's kind of good actually to get out and, you know, just do something without all of the baby stuff around. Yeah, it is kind of nice. All right, well, we'll try and do it again soon.
We will.
Try not to wait 4 months.
No, it won't be 4 months.
No, definitely not. All right, thanks, Cathy.
Awesome. Thank you. See ya.
I'm usually really good at showing the wonderful food that we do. So Cathy made these Japanese scones based on lemonade with strawberries. And we had them when I first arrived and we caught up a bit. And what was hilarious was then she made this beautiful Japanese noodle soup, just like what Lan had with his adoptive family. And we sat on the floor at the coffee table in her lounge room and ate it, simulating the whole thing. And I totally forgot to take any photos of that. So, oops, sorry. I hope you've been enjoying this. Watching this and breaking it down with Cathy is just one of the biggest joys in my life, I can tell you. So hopefully I'll be back with her next week and we'll get through things a little bit quicker. I mean, you know, in some ways you want to drag it out a little bit and make it last, and in other ways you just want to get it done. Please do make sure you have hit the like button, and hopefully I'll have another Cathy episode really soon. Thanks for watching.